Hey, welcome back again, beautiful people. So in today's lesson, we're doing a little more complicated one-point perspective shapes, if you want to say. We're making forms, obviously, or the illusion of forms. Again, we have a ruler, a pencil with an eraser, and just wanted to mention before we begin this, like, this is a cube, right? And the front of it, or the face of it here, we'll say, is square. But when you look at it from a distance, or even from this angle, using the camera, we can see how it looks like it gets smaller down here. Reality, it doesn't. This might even be a little better. This is a square, the face of it, but it's a rectangle, right? Okay. We can see that it looks like it gets smaller. Let's get started on this. So we're going to draw the horizon line again. I like doing my paper horizontally here, and I'm going to go straight across the middle. In reality, this line could be anywhere on this page. You want to keep it parallel with the edges of your page. Even if you're turning it vertically like that, you want to keep your horizon line in that direction. So on this horizon line, and do you all remember what this horizon line, another name for this, is called? That's right. If you said eye level line, that's also the eye level line. So we're going to put a dot on this horizon line, eye level line. Does anybody remember what we called that dot last time? Okay, you're right. It's called the vanishing point. And we saw last time that when we drew perspective lines, it kind of looked like everything went there and just disappeared. And that's sort of why it's called that is why it's called the vanishing point. So today we're going to make a little more complicated drawing. We're going to start out again with just a basic square. I'm going to cheat again. I'm going to use my ruler edges and just make it square. Remember, I'm keeping the sides of my box or square parallel with the edges of my paper. It's a good, easy way to make sure it looks like it's standing up and it looks good. All right, so here's our box. And now we're going to take all these perspective lines or corners to that vanishing point. I'm going to go from here to the vanishing point, from there to the vanishing point. One of the reasons I really like using a clear ruler is that you can kind of see through it. And I talked last time about how to hold your ruler. And if you can tell here, I've got 3 fingers there holding that, and I'm going to go to the vanishing point. So in reality, this cannot go on forever. It's sort of like this square here, right? When we're looking at it here, and I don't know how that's looking on the camera, but we're going to have to cut it off because it's square here in front. It's going to be square here in back. All right? So when I ask my students sometimes to go in there and cut that off, they'll go like that. Well, that's not right. And you got to erase that part. But in reality, if it's square in front, it's going to be square in back. If it's circle in front, it's going to be a circle in back, right? So we're going to cut that off. I just like to start there and raise my ruler up then. And then we'll erase this. So the number 2 rule for art, for me, is to draw it like till you get it right. Okay? You know, okay. So now, it just so happens that I have a roller tape thingamajig here. And there's no way I can tear that, so I'm not going to worry about tearing it right now. But let's use this for a circle. We're going to see, I said this is going to be a little more complicated, and I just mentioned circles, so let's do a circle. And actually, this is probably easier than this one. It's below our eye level, just like that one. It's to the left of where we might be standing. Remember, we're standing somewhere in this area. This is directly out from us. That's the vanishing point. That's also on that horizon line. and eye level line. So here's our circle. Just happened to have a cylinder shape here. So if this is the front, it's circular in back, but because of perspective, it looks bigger here on this end and smaller back there. So the same thing applies, except my kids get a little confused sometimes. When you're doing this one, line it up with your vanishing point, like I'm doing, and then just move your ruler over to wherever it touches the edge of that circle. So I'm going to go bam right there, and going to do the same thing for this side. You know, it's going to go line that up, and move it up just a hair over there so I can see my vanishing point. When you're drawing, it's really important to keep in mind that your pencil has a little thickness about it. And so when you're drawing beside of that ruler, now you think, well, I used that to get the circle, so why not use that to cut it off? And I'll show you why not. Just go back there and cut that off. Well, that is the same circle, but because of perspective, it does get smaller back there, and so you're going to have to, what I call, eyeball this one. You're just going to have to try to create this curve back there smaller, and that might be not quite right, but close enough for now, right? The main point is that you're realizing that this gets smaller back there in the same curve. So now I messed that up with that line. Okay, so we have a basic square rectangle going to the vanishing point. We have a cylinder going to the vanishing point. I want to draw one more. I'm going to draw it up here. Well, I'm going to draw a couple more, but let's draw it over here to the side. We're going to do a triangle, and it can be a perfect triangle. It can be a jury-rigged triangle. I'm just going to go in here and try to make it. Again, I'm looking through that ruler trying to find the center. It's a little off center, but that's close enough. Okay, so now this is above our eye level, so we're going to see the bottom of it. It's to the right of our vanishing point, so we're going to see this left side. And so and it's got corners. That makes it fairly easy. We know we can line it up. If you didn't watch the first video, simple one-point perspective boxes, you probably need to watch that before you watch this one. I explain in there quite a bit more about going to the vanishing point. So I'm taking every corner here of this thing that I can to the vanishing point, and I'm stopping before I get there because I'm going to have to erase some of that, and there's really no point in drawing all that and erasing it. So now that's going to be the bottom. That's easy because it's horizontal along with that. This side is where a lot of my students get confused, and they'll come in here and they go, well, let's cut it off like that. Well, remember, this thing is triangular, and so in the front it's triangle. It's going to be a triangle back there, and so you just match that. What I do is line my ruler up and just scoot it over until it looks okay to you or to me. And then I will draw a line there. So it's these lines are parallel. If two lines are parallel, they'll go forever and never touch. Okay. So now let's go with a couple. Oh, I forgot about this. So this shape, it'll be a little bit complicated, but let's do it. Let's put it over here, and we're going to trace that again. I'm cheating, right? So practice this again. So if you need to make a circle, find something to trace it. A quarter, maybe a small Gatorade bottle lid, or so again, I just lined it up along with that edge here and there, or the vanishing point, and then the same thing here. Line up the vanishing point and see where it touches that edge. Woo! And vanishing point, holding it. Boom! I took it too far there. And we're going to have to eyeball this, remember? Because I'm going to come a little closer up here this time. Want to create that same curve. Just smaller. Now, all right, let's add a little bit more to this. we're going to go in here. See, this thing has a little thickness about it. It's open. So just going to freehand this. Oh my. Well, now, what about the back part there? Would we be able to see that, you know, in there maybe like a little tiny bit? And I'm freehanding that. Got to keep in mind that's a circle that goes around, you can imagine. And maybe we could see it, maybe we wouldn't. But one real cool way to make this look three-dimensional besides doing that is to go in here and add some shadow. Just keep your lines kind of curved when you're doing this with a pencil or shadow. And maybe smudge a little bit with your finger. That's going to add a little depth, and you could do a little bit better, and I could spend more time on it, but I'm not going to. Let's draw a heart. And I'm just going to freehand this, and I'm going to actually do one here. I would tell you to draw a star, but I'll be honest with you. My stars, when I'm drawing them, they're pretty nasty. So I can draw a decent heart sometimes. It doesn't have to be perfect, right? I drew it kind of directly underneath there. And you could draw it wherever, but this is going to be similar to the circle. You're going to line this up with the vanishing point, and wherever it touches the edge of the heart, boom, 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 boom. Bam. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Vanishing point, edge of the circle, or the heart. Bam. Now we actually have a little divot down in there, a little corner-ish area, and I'm going to go line that up. Okay. Line it up there and there. Boom. Oh, now we get to cut this baby off. Now, this is the little complicated thing, but not really. I think you guys are pretty swift. You've already caught on pretty well to this stuff. So, if it's a heart in front, it's going to be a heart in back, right? And so, the same shape that we've got going on here, we have to repeat it back there. And so, just decide where you're going to do this. Something that I have done before in the past, this is a little bit... just making that a little more curved. So I could take a ruler and go maybe here. This is just me. You do what you want. I know that's going to be the top. And so like if I do it here, I know it's got that little divot there and a little edge there. So I'm going to do the same thing back there. It's just a little smaller. I'm going to go like that. Like that. And I'll go in here and I'll erase that. So that gives us a perspective heart. Let me do one more heart for you that's kind of not on this directly under there because it's a little easy. I'm going to put one. I'm going to put it, let's put one right here. Let's do it a little low. I want you to try this with me, okay? Try this assignment. Now, this one is not directly underneath there, so it's going to be a little more. But you're going to still line it up where you can. We talked about in video 1, or simple, if you run into a shape, you stop, or to a line, you stop. So I'm going to, oh man, there's that outer edge. There's my vanishing point. Boom. Now look at this. It's going to be a little complicated. How do I do this part? Well, this is where you have to kind of think about it a little bit. See that little bump right there? If you were super small and climbing up over that heart, there'd be an edge. You wouldn't be able to see down in there. So that's kind of what you got to keep in mind. There's your vanishing point. Yeah, maybe you're in magic school bus land, baby. And I'm going to line that up, and I'm going to come right through there. Woo! Now we have that little point that you cross over. It's like going over a hill. Sometimes when you're out and about or on a roller coaster, you're going up, 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 up. You can't see it, drops off. And then you fall over the hill. So we're just going to keep this curve in mind. I'm going to do that out like that. There may be a simpler way to do this. I don't know. And then we've got to see how that goes over there like that. Pretend it goes behind there, and it's going to come up over here. So we're going to erase all of this. All right. Now, we'll fix this back a little bit. Ooh, baby. All right, so we have a little more complicated shapes going on here. I'd like for you to try this and try a few more shapes. Maybe a star if you can draw one decently. Maybe a bubble letter, alphabet letter. I maybe should do one right here. Let's do an S. My name is Shannon Shepherd, and okay, let's do a bubble letter S. I'll do it kind of quick because I'm running on extra time here probably. I did it right above there, so it's going to be a little easier. Now you can use a stencil if you want, freehand it, whatever. All right, so here's my S. It's the same idea with these circles. We're going to go vanishing point, and my paper's getting messy. Sorry about that. I'm going to go vanishing point wherever it touches the edge of that S. Boom. Now I'm going to do that up here because this is where our rule, when we come to a line, we stop. There's the corner, the edge. Boom, stop, baby. We're going to do this right here because it's still there. Now we're forgetting that side. A lot of times when I have my students to do this, they'll forget about this little under part. Now we're not really going to worry about this part unless we cut this off real short. Well, let's do that. Let's cut it off kind of short. See, I'm matching that, just smaller. Now I know it's going to be cut off here. It's just going to be kind of curved. Now, same for here. It's going to be this curve, but it's going to be, I'm trying to keep roughly that same thickness. And then I'm going to jerry rig this part. See, it's going to match that. We go in there, we erase. I tell you what, try one of your initials. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6 shapes, one's repeated. But try one of your initials and see what happens. I'd love to see your images, see what you draw. Send me an image. And I want to thank you for watching. Hope you have a good day. Next time we're going even more complicated.